If I had to start all over again, this is going to be what I would do in my first week, in my first 7 days to get the business off the ground. Now, as you may know, I've launched 7 businesses from 0 to $1 million in their first 12 months over the last 20 years. I've worked with 5,500 different businesses globally. I've got lots of lessons, but let's distill it down. What would I do in week 1 if I was launching again from scratch? Now, this could also be useful if you have an existing business and you're thinking of launching a new product or service to add to an existing business. The same rules are going to apply. Let's have a look at the 7-day launch plan. First thing is, I believe that it's not individuals who should launch businesses, it's teams. And the first team that you need is called a scout team. So a scout team is 2 people who are going to be exploring whether you can sell something and whether you can build something. So it's probably, this is an activity that is not you on your own, it's you plus someone who's going to help you with this. So you're going to have a collaborator. We're going to call that a scout team. Okay, so on day 1, I'm going to start on a Saturday, and on Saturday, we're going to have 10 ideas. And we're going to try and find the best 3 ideas. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to have 10 ideas, and the 10 ideas are going to be based upon 3 Ps. We're going to have some ideas that are based upon your passion. Those ideas are things that you're passionate about. You read books about this, you watch videos about this, you read blogs and articles about this. You've been interested in this for many, many years, and there's a real passion, and you're going to explore what are some business ideas that relate to your passion. Second set of ideas are going to be related to problems that you've noticed in the world. You're going to look around the world and say, what are the big problems that I see? What problems need solving? And you're going to look for things that frustrate people, that annoy people, that anger people, that make people go, oh, I wish someone would solve that. And you're going to explore what are the big problems, and you're going to say, what business idea would I come up with for those problems? And the third set is going to be about payment. This is all about the money. You're going to say, where is the money flowing at the moment, right? There's a lot of money in this, in this, in this. What are the industries that are doing well? What are the things that people are predicting growth in? And we're going to explore some money ideas. So you've got 3 different ways to start with your ideas: the passion, the problem, and the payment. Right? All of those ideas are going to evolve, and they're going to need all 3 of that. But let's just start with 10 ideas that relate to those 3 prompts. What we're then going to do is we're going to narrow it down to 3, right? Now, the way that we're going to narrow it down is we're going to jump on the phone and talk to the most experienced entrepreneurs that you have in your network. Now, I don't care whether they own a fish and chip shop. I don't care if they're a multimillionaire. Maybe you know Richard Branson. Whoever you can get on the phone to, you're just going to talk about your ideas, and you're going to run through the list of 10 and get them to say whether they like it, how they might advance it, what they might do differently. You're just going to talk about the ideas, and you're going to get them to select 3. So by talking to a few sensible people, we're going to narrow our 10 ideas down to 3 ideas. That's day 1. Okay, on Sunday, we're going to create 3 waiting lists. Now, what is a waiting list? A waiting list is an online registration form that tells people that something new is coming, and they can register their interest if they want to know more about it. We use scoreapp.com to set these up all the time to test ideas. You can use one of the free templates, but essentially what you're doing is you're just setting up a waiting list. Now, what you're going to say is something along the lines of, are you frustrated with X, Y, and Z? We have a new approach coming that will help you to solve this problem, this problem, this problem. If you're interested in that, join the waiting list to get early access to information, to get a special offer when we launch, and to keep up to date with our new developments, right? So you're just going to create a waiting list landing page here for any new product or service. If it's a consumer product, you might want to mock up some visuals. If it's a service, you might want to pick a few images or generate some using AI, just to make it feel like it's really happening and to show people what it might look like. Here's the really cool thing. Harvard Business Review actually tested this strategy, and they discovered that business owners or entrepreneurs who launch a waiting list before they launch the actual product increase sales by 40% just by having a waiting list first. So it's a proven strategy that Harvard Business Review has actually looked into. So by the end of Sunday, we're going to have 3 waiting list pages ready to go. We're going to have 3 URLs, some links, right, that you'll be able to send out, and we'll be able to test which one of these landing pages, which one of these waiting lists gets the best results. Just a quick interruption. I'm running a workshop that I think you want to be at. It is a workshop on the 5-step process for becoming a key person of influence in your industry. There's a reason that we do it live and it's not pre-recorded, and that is because we're going to interact. There's all sorts of workshop activities that we're going to do live. You're going to get so much value out of this. There'll be a link below. Register right now. Come and join me for a 90-minute Zoom workshop where I'm going to be live on there. We can interact, do Q&A. It's a lot of fun. You'll be doing it as a shared experience with about 100 different entrepreneurs from around the world, and everyone gets so much value. You'll be so glad that you did. One of the best things that you do all week, maybe even all year, maybe in your entire life. Anyway, see you soon. Back to the video. Okay, on Monday, we're going to go above the line and we're going to go onto social media. And for each of these ideas, we're going to do two things. We are going to send out some signature content. Signature content is a little bit of a thesis that explains something relating to these key ideas. So let's say one of your ideas is a new agency helping people with their social media or helping people use AI, right? You're going to post a little bit of signature content about why that's a good idea and why people should trust your judgment on this, and what are 3 or 4 things that people should know, or what some interesting statistics, right? So a little piece of signature content. Signature content is normally something like 300 to 1500 words. And you can post this on LinkedIn, you could post it on Instagram, you could post it on any of the other social media platforms, but my favorite is LinkedIn and Instagram. So we're going to post some signature content. Once we've got our signature content, we're going to start firing off DMs, direct messages. These are cold direct messages to anyone who might be interested. And our minimum target is 60 DMs for each idea. So we're going to do this times the 3 ideas, right? So for each one of these 3 ideas, we're going to have a piece of signature content, right? And that is going to be amplified by 60 DMs. So on Monday, we're going to send a total of 180 DMs minimum to 3 pieces of signature content. So what does this direct message say? It's going to say a couple of things. It's going to say, recently I started looking into X, Y, and Z, and I found some interesting things about that relate to what you're interested in. And you're going to basically link it back to why they'd be interested in this. Now, what you're going to tell them is you're going to say 2 things. I've written a piece of signature content about this, and also I'm going to be launching a business about this if I get sufficient interest on my waiting list. Would you mind checking out my signature content? And if you're interested, fill in the waiting list form. So this signature content has 300 to 500 words, but then it links back to the waiting list, right? So, and also the DM links to the signature content, but it also links to the waiting list. So we're telling people, here's what I'm up to. I've been writing about this. I've been talking about this, and I'd love it if you could fill in some information on this waiting list here. So we're doing this in parallel, and we're trying to figure out which one of these ideas most people are interested in. On the waiting list, you're going to actually ask people 5 questions when they fill in the waiting list. So if someone fills in the waiting list, they don't just put name and email address, which we do want their name and email address, but we want name, we want email, and we want these 5 questions. So let me give you the big 5 questions. Question number 1, which best describes your current situation? So you're going to give people a list of things. Are you a student? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an executive? Which best describes your current situation? Number 2, which best describes the desired outcome that you have relating to this topic? So what are you trying to achieve? Question 3, what's the biggest frustration that you've experienced relating to this topic? Question 4, what is the price point that you would most easily be able to allocate budget if there was a good offer? Question 5, is there anything else you'd like me to know? So those are the big 5 questions that you're going to ask when people register the waiting list. You're collecting data because that data is going to give you signals of interest, and it's going to give you information about who's interested and why they're interested and how much they're willing to pay. So that's what we've got going on here. We've got our 3 waiting lists. We've got our signature content. We're sending 60 DMs per day per idea. That's 180 DMs per day. Okay, so now we're at Tuesday. We have got a couple of things going on. We are going to continue sending our DMs. Right? In fact, every single day of the week, right, all the way down here, we're going to continue sending 180 DMs per day. Right? So that's one of the things we're just going to continue to do. But what we're also going to do now is we're going to try and book some sales meetings. So anyone who's shown any interest whatsoever, whether they commented, whether they liked, or whether they filled in the waiting list, we're going to ask them if they're willing to have a quick sales meeting. Now the sales meeting, or you might not call it a sales meeting, would you be willing to jump on a Zoom call? Would you be willing to have a quick Google meeting with me? I'd like to be able to spend maybe 30 minutes with you just finding out a little bit more about you and what you're trying to achieve. I'm launching a business. Would you please be willing to jump on a call with me and have a quick phone call, quick Zoom meeting, quick Google meeting for about 30 minutes, right? So you're going to be asking for quick little sales meetings. So the goal today is to book 6 sales meetings. And on top of that, we're going to be doing that for the rest of the week as well. Okay, now we are at Wednesday. What am I going to do on Wednesday? I am going to build a slide deck that I'm going to use during my sales meetings. And I'm also going to create something like a PDF brochure that shows people what is the offer that I'm going to be presenting to them. That I want to be able to present something visually. So slides and a PDF. Now, here's the interesting thing. About 70% of the human brain is involved in visual processing. If you can't make something visual, then most people just don't understand it. So you need to have slides or a PDF brochure in order to walk people through what you have in mind. Now, what is going to be on those slides? You're going to have things like the problem that you solve and why it's a problem, who you solve that for and why that person gets a lot of value. How do you solve the problem? You're going to then present people with a gold, silver, and bronze version. So we're going to have a gold, silver, bronze offer. And we're going to show people what they can get for gold, what they can get for silver, what they can get for bronze, and how much is that priced at for each. Now for all of this, I'm going to be using ChatGPT, and I'm going to be getting ChatGPT to help me to say what's going to be on the slide deck, what's going to be on the PDF brochure, what is my offer going to be, what's it going to look like, gold, silver, and bronze. I'm going to get ChatGPT to help me to formalize my ideal customer persona, right? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT which ideal customer persona is showing up in my data, or which ideal customer persona I should be focused on. And we're going to translate that all into this materials. So I'm doing this, I'm doing slides, I'm doing PDF, I'm doing ideal customer persona, I'm doing gold, silver, bronze offer. All of that's happening on Wednesday. And I'm also going to be sending out 180 DMs. And I'm also going to be trying to message people to see if they'll jump on a call, sending them a link to the diary where I'm going to be having as many meetings as I possibly can. Okay, now it's Thursday, and what we want to be doing is reviewing some of the data that's coming in. By this stage, we should have a clear winner. One of these ideas will be better than the other. Maybe this one was a no-go, right? Not many people signed up. We got a few people signed up for this one, but idea number 3, that was the one that people most excited about. On Thursday, we're looking at the data. And in particular, I also want us to have our first few sales meetings. Right? So we're actually going to meet with people and have one-to-ones. Now in that sales meeting, we're going to present them with our slide deck, our PDF. We're going to show them the gold, silver, bronze offer. And we're going to ask them, out of those offers, which ones are you most interested in? And would you be willing to put down $100 deposit or £100 deposit in order to lock in one of the very first spots and to get a discounted rate if they will make a small commitment in order to get early access. Now, if you're doing something for consumers, you might just simply ask them for a $5 deposit in order to see which one they're interested in. You might just see whether they're willing to fill in an extensive pre-order form, maybe a full page, in order to lock that in. We're looking for a micro commitment at the sales level. So we're trying to see whether people will actually give us honest responses. And we know that people give honest responses when they're asked to make some sort of a commitment. People will tell you, yeah, I love it, I love it, I love it. And then you ask them to put down $50 and they go, oh, it's not for me. That's the honest response. So we're asking people for a small commitment to see how they respond. And we're trying to find out, do they have any objections? So any objections, we don't want to get upset about objections. We want to treat that as free consulting. They might say, oh, you've only got it in blue, but I wish it was in red. Fantastic, we'll make it in red. You're doing it for $10,000, but my budget's $8,000. Okay, let's make sure that we bring it down to $8,000. So we want to figure out what are the objections and can we respond to those objections. We've now gotten all the way through till Friday. What are we going to do on Friday? So on Friday, we are going to pick the winner, right? Based upon all of the data. We're going to formalize our offer. We're going to announce that we're going to be launching this, right? So announce that this is launching. So you want to go back to everyone you DM'd. You want to go back to all the people who responded and let them know we've actually decided to do offer. This is what we've decided to do, right? And now you want to get people to book into your launch event. And at the launch event, you're going to incorporate all of this data. You're going to be getting people to either come along to a Zoom event or a physical event, whatever the launch event is. You're going to channel all of this energy and effort down to the launch event. And the launch event is where you are going to make your first sales. In the lead up to the launch event, you're going to get all the people who did pre-sales meetings and all the people who are booked into pre-sales meetings to book in so that they can get a discount ahead of the launch event by committing early. And then at the launch event, you're going to do another sales presentation and you're going to get people to sign up at the early stage. So these people get the super early bird rate. These people are going to get the early bird rate, and away you go. You are ready to launch. You're going to get your first sales in. So that's what I'd be doing in my first 7 days. So if you've gone through these 7 days and you've been able to send 180 DMs a day and you've created some signature content, you've been posting content every day, you've been reaching out, messaging to people every day, you've started to do your sales examples. By the time you have about 150 people on a waiting list, by the time that you've done 30 sales meetings, by the time you've got people booking into your launch workshop, you are now highly validated on this idea. People are responding. This is not a theory. This is not an idea. People in the marketplace are actually giving you strong signals of interest. So in this first week, we've done a lot of validation, and that means that you've taken a lot of the risk out of the equation. This is a great way to spend your first week. Obviously, there's plenty of work to be done, but here we are. We've gone from an idea, right, or multiple ideas, down to finding something that the market has validated, and you are almost guaranteed to make sales in the weeks ahead. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that helps you to strip out a lot of the risk and the fear that you might have about entrepreneurship and launching something new. And if you're interested in getting a bit more of a complete picture as to how you would build a more successful business in the following 52 weeks after this, then I'd love for you to come and join me for a workshop. I run regular workshops on entrepreneurship. We're trying to demystify that entrepreneurial journey, make the journey more successful, less risky, have more fun with it. Come along to one of my workshops. There'll be a link somewhere around this video. It's a 90-minute workshop, and I look forward to seeing you there. If you're enjoying these videos, give the channel a like, give it a subscribe, leave me a comment. What would you have done differently? What were you surprised to see with my first week? And then I look forward to picking up the conversation with you soon. All the best. By the way, I put this little Tuesday in here. Now, why did I do that? I did that because some people are so obsessed with details that don't matter that they get caught up and they lose the bigger picture, right? And I wanted to do that because when it comes to entrepreneurship, we need to be directionally correct. We need to say, you know what, little details don't matter. It's the big direction. It's the big picture that really matters. If you got tripped up by this, if your brain was like, I can't handle the fact that there's a spelling error on here, right? I did that as a little lesson. I wanted you to go, hey, wait a second, am I doing that in my business career? Am I getting obsessed with the little details that could come later, right? Or am I focused on the big picture of the stuff that really matters? All the best.